Hi, I'm Steve Adams from Racing Index. In this video, I'll be taking a look at Speculate to Accumulate, a horse racing tipster service established in 2010 by JMI Publication. They're unlike other tipster services I've been monitoring since the start of the year. Rather than being an individual tipster, they employ a number of separate tipsters for which they perm 2 or 3 daily selections. They've been proofing tips to Racing Index since 2011, and we've seen a number of tipsters under their umbrella come and go over the years. Currently they have 7 tipster services, and the one that stood the test of time the longest is Placespotter. It's the selections from that service that I've been monitoring since the start of 2021, checking the odds available at the time they send out their daily email, which tends to be sometime in the region of 7:30 till 8:30 am. In a moment I'll take a look at the results I've recorded and see how the early prices compare with those based upon Betfair SPs as shown in the Racing Index proofing area. But before I do that, I want to provide a bit more information about their service, so I'll hop on over to the computer and let's take a look at their website. Their website's sp2a.co.uk. Pretty simple to remember, but I'll leave a link to it in the description below anyway. They offer daily tipsters and an elite tipster service. And if you scroll down on their homepage, the day after they send the selections out, they put them up on a blog post on their site. So you can actually read all of those to get a feel for the type of message that they send out to their members. Their daily tipsters are Michael Gold, All Weather Expert, SP2A Mentions, The Advisor, Placespotter and Robin Taylor. And as I mentioned, the one I've been monitoring since the start of the year is Placespotter. There's been a few people that provided tips under the Placespotter title since they started proofing to Racing Index. Originally it was a guy called John Davis, and then Ian, the owner, took over the pseudonym in early 2016. And since January 2019 he's shared the title with Irish expert Sean, who covers Irish racing and Irish raiders when they come over to the big UK meetings and festivals. So when you're back in the Placespotter's selections, they could either be provided by Ian or by Sean. If we have a look at the pricing, you can buy just the daily tips membership and you can pay for that on a weekly, monthly, 3 monthly, 6 months, 1 year, 3 year or lifetime membership. Not sure you probably want to go for the lifetime one. Certainly not initially at any rate. And as I say, they've got the elite service as well. And the elite service provides selections for 1 or 2 big races on a Saturday, but also covers Friday and Saturday when there's big race meetings, plus tips at the major festivals such as Cheltenham, Aintree, Ascot, Goodwood and York. If you want to subscribe to both services, they offer a bundle deal with savings over buying the 2 services separately. As I say, they've been proofing the Placespotter selections to Racing Index since 2011. So let's hop over to the Racing Index proofing area and take a look at those. So here we are on the Placespotter page of the Racing Index proofing area. We'll scroll down to the bottom. The early years was when John Davis was doing the tipping. Carry on up. 2016 was when Ian took over doing the selections. So they made a profit in 2016, small profit in 2017. There was a loss there in 2018, but then a much bigger profit there in 2019. And even with the 3 months off for the lockdown last year, they made a good profit last year. Things haven't started off too well since I've been monitoring the selections in 2021. But this proofing is based on Betfair starting price, and that's not really the best way to back their selections. And I'll tell you about that in a minute when I come on to the actual monitoring of their selections. But what I did want to show you while I'm here, with the Cheltenham Festival coming up, if I click on March last year, I have to narrow that down slightly, so from the 10th to the 13th. So that's the Cheltenham Festival 4 days. Click submit there. So these were the results for the Placespotter at Cheltenham Festival. And you can see they made 39 points profit. Now if we change it from Placespotter to the daily tips. Now the daily tips include all of their tipsters. And if we hit submit there, you'll see that the service actually made 57 points profit. That's roughly 2 points stake per selection. When they're proofing them here, they're actually showing it as a win and a place bet, so that's 2 separate bets. Go back up. You see that we had The Conditional, who won the Ultima Handicap. Aramax, who won the Boodles Juvenile. Sada Burley, who won the Pertemps Final. Simply the Bets, who won the Brown Advisory Handicap Chase. Milan Native, who won the Kim Muir. St Roy, who won the County Hurdle. Monkfish, who won the Albert Bartlett. And Chosen Mate, who won the Grand Annual. So if you'd been following their selections at last year's Cheltenham Festival, you would have made a pretty decent profit. And that's mostly with the big runner handicaps, which is notoriously difficult to predict the winner of. Things weren't quite so good in 2019. So let me just change the date there. So that was the 12th of March 2019 to the 15th. And you see there, although they had a few winners, they actually made a slight loss of 4.32 points. If I go back up again, 2018, so that would have been the 13th to the 16th. And there we see that in those 4 days they made a slight profit of 5.77. In fact, they made a profit of 7.77 because if you notice here, there was they did one bet at Huntington as well, which was a losing bet. So that's a 2-point losing bet there. So their overall profit at actual Cheltenham itself was 7.77 points. So they've made a profit in 2 out of the last 3 years. A slight loss in 2019, but a really big profit in 2020. In the emails that they send out to members, they identify the selections as either tips or tracker bets. So you can see we've got tips, and then that one's there's a tracker bet. And they also check on Odds Checker to see which bookmakers are offering the best prices and who are offering enhanced place terms. So like in this one you see that Sky Bet, Paddy Power, William Hill, Bet Victor, Betfred, Boyle Sports, Unibet and Betway are all offering 4 places for the each way bets. So that's all provided as a summary at the top of the email. And then further down, they give their reasoning behind the bets. I won't bother reading that all out. But if you want to pause the video to read it all, by all means do. And as I say, on the blog on their website, you can read it the following day. So you can look back and see all of their recent selections and read their reasonings behind them. Now, when I first started monitoring these at the beginning of the year, they were given them out as either 1 point each way or 0.5 points each way. And then at the beginning of February, they decided to change it and not actually give advised stakes because they were saying their members actually use their own staking anyway. But as far as the monitoring goes, I've continued to use the same points type structure. So if it's a tip bet, then I've done it 1 point each way. And if it's a tracker bet, I've done it at 0.5 points each way. Now they also sometimes include what they call like shrapnel bets. So these are ones that they don't feel quite strongly enough to actually put them up as a main bet on the account. But they just mention and they say to members if they want to bet them themselves, then they by all means do so. And I've not included those shrapnel bets in the results that I'm going to show you. I've just included their main tips and tracker bets. You see in this message they gave up Super Citizen as our shrapnel bet, and I think that one actually went on and won at something like 20-1. So far since the start of January, we've been 88 bets, of which 28 have actually returned a profit. So that includes each way bets that have returned a profit as well. So out of those 88, only actually 4 have won their race. So probably, what's that, around about 5% winning strike rate. So that being the case, it's pretty good to only have a loss of 11.25 points based on best odds guarantee. And you can see that's done substantially better than starting price. And quite unusual that starting price has actually done better than Betfair starting price. And the reason for that is because of the enhanced terms. So typically back in the selection on Betfair starting price might have only played out 3 or 4 places, whereas taking the odds with one of the bookmakers in offering enhanced prices, there's been a couple of times when it's paid out on 5th or 6th place. And so that's been a losing bet on Betfair starting price, whereas it's a winner backing with the bookmaker starting price. Now I do expect over the long term for the Betfair starting price returns to actually be better than the regular starting price, just because a lot of the selections are big prices and that is where Betfair starting prices tend to end up being bigger than starting price. But because of the lack of winners so far, and the fact that the Betfair place terms aren't necessarily as good as the equivalent each way terms, overall SP has outperformed Betfair SP at the moment. So if we look at that in graph format, we can see the best odds guarantee is well above the others. It's very much down to that bet early on. It was Owl Creek Bridge back on the 17th of January. It was advised early odds at 33 to 1 and it won at an SP of 7 to 1. And if you look at the red line compared with the grey line, so the red line's the Betfair SP, the grey line's normal SP. And initially Betfair SP was outperforming SP. And then when we get through to where we ran about the 40 bet mark, starting price caught up a bit. And then when we got up to 66 bets, starting price leaped ahead of Betfair SP. And those two are very much because of the enhanced places that paid out on starting price but didn't pay out on Betfair SP. So the SP2A betting strategy is very much built around being able to back with the bookmakers and take advantage of those offering the enhanced place terms. That's typically Sky Bet, William Hill, Paddy Power, Betfair, BetVictor and Betfred. So if you've not got accounts with those bookmakers or you're not able to get accounts with those bookmakers, then you're really going to struggle to take full advantage of the SP2A service. In particular, Sky Bet often offer 5, 6 or 7 places. But if you're betting with them, you need to remember that they don't provide best odds guaranteed prices in races where they're giving the enhanced places. Now, as far as I know, all the other bookmakers offer bog prices on the extra place races. So it's worth thinking about that when you're deciding where to place your bets on these types of races. Now, the start of 2021 hasn't been the best so far, but as we saw on the proofing, for the past 2 years, the Placespotter service has performed particularly well, and I'd argue they're due an upturn in fortune. Seeing how well their daily tips did at Cheltenham last year, now could be just the right time for them to start firing in the winners. Just as I started editing this video, we've had a race that just perfectly sums up the Placespotter service. The 320 at Gorham today, you can see on the screen here, they put up one tip, which was Alice O'Brien, and 2 trackers, which were Lady McCabe and Chenery. Chenery's just won the race at 20 to 1, and Lady McCabe has finished 5th at 22 to 1, having advised to be backed at 33 to 1 this morning, with either BetVictor, Betfred or Boyle Sports playing out the 5 places. So it just illustrates the benefits of taking that 5th place. I've not actually put those figures into my spreadsheet yet, but I'm pretty sure that's now going to mean that to best odds guarantee and enhanced places, they're now going to be in profit since the start of the year. Keep an eye out for future updates. After next week's Cheltenham Festival, I'll be taking another look at the other tipsters I've been monitoring to see how they performed since I first mentioned them. So hit the subscribe button and ding the bell to make sure you get notified when I upload new videos.